Hey guys, welcome to the very first episode of the Ad Lib Podcast, and I'm so excited to be bringing you this show. I am your host, Andrea Gravina, and today I am joined by the one and only Joe Paolella. How's it going, Joe?
Good. Happy to be here. Nice to finally sort of meet, I guess.
I guess, yeah. And I am also joined by Franco Rizza. How's it going, Franco?
It's going.
It's going. So, what is the Ad Lib Podcast all about? So, this is the first podcast, I believe, in Malta, which is focused almost exclusively on movies and TV shows. And we'll sometimes also be discussing video games. Every week, I, your host, Andrea Gravina, and members of the Ad Lib Podcast team, like Joe and Franco, will be discussing news related to the movie industry, as well as review any and all content that we have watched with a special focus on stuff that has just come out. Now, before we start with today's show, I would love for both me and Joe and Franco to spend just a few minutes talking about ourselves and where our love for movies started. So, Joe, can you take lead here?
Okay, so a little bit about me. I am a videographer by trade, but an aspiring filmmaker and screenwriter. And my love for movies, it's the cliche thing of it did start from a very young age, but there wasn't really any great epiphany. It was kind of just, I always realized I was watching films. I mean, growing up in Malta, there was a DVD shop down the road from me where I lived in Garvour, and I was there every other day renting anything that looked at all interesting to 7-year-old me. And it's just kind of grown from there. And then I just developed a bit more of a creative palette. My friends just say I became more pretentious. And yeah, that's basically where it's gone. I've always I guess when I was 16, I kind of wanted to be an animator and make my own cartoon. But then I realized I just can't draw very well. And also animation is extremely difficult. No one tells you that when you're 16. But no, now it's just always messing around with cameras, trying to write, which is the worst struggle known to man. And yeah, that's basically me.
Nice. Franco, what about you?
So basically, I have to thank my father for my love of movies, because we used to go whenever we were young. We had this tradition that every Christmas we go watch the latest Disney cartoon movie. So I remember seeing The Lion King, Aladdin, what else? Anyway, but basically they were the time that was it. I think also Beauty and the Beast. And as time went along, actually, this is where my and Joe's stories sort of connect, because there was also used to be a DVD shop close to our place. We used to go rent there. But then, first we started renting the usual stuff, the usual commercial stuff, like like Jurassic Park and whatnot. But then I started trying to find more out there movies. In fact, I was going to ask you, Joe, I wanted to ask you guys, what was your first no commercial favorite movie? Because in my case, it was Donnie Darko.
Oh boy.
Okay.
First non-commercial favorite movie. That's a really tough question.
I mean, my easy one is one of my favorite movies of all time, and it's Blade Runner.
Or Fight Club. Fight Club as well. I was so surprised when I was
Fight Club. Fight Club. I don't think Fight Club would be the first one, though. When you say non-commercial, do you mean like not Disney and not...
Indies most probably.
Oh, indies.
Okay, an indie. That's tougher.
Because Donnie Darko was Indian. That's what I think. That for me, I think that was the epiphany. It's like, if I could make a movie like Donnie Darko, I'm in.
I don't know. For me, it wasn't really indies, because then I kind of have my dad to thank, and even my mum, for some of my film taste, just because I was exposed to like new Hollywood films from a very young age. Like, one of the things I remember watching from a very young age, as fucked up as it might seem, is Taxi Driver.
Oh, nice.
Just because I remember my dad had the DVD and he just put it on, and my dad was very much like, if there's no sex and there's no drugs in the film, it's okay for him to see. I kind of got that it was just a film and it's a story and none of it's real. So
okay. No, I used to make sure that whenever I went to the DVD shop, I get one for my father and one for me. But then what happened is I remember once I got Blair Witch Project.
Lawa. What age were you, Frank?
I think Donnie Darko and Fight Club. I was 16. I used to remember. I used to get movies that were rated 18 when I was 16. Fight Club was 18. I remember something else. I've seen so many. That's the problem now. I have to. That's why right now I'm taking note of all the movies I've seen. And
I really need to do that as well. I just need to write a whole list of like movies I've watched and then just a ranking for each one.
Actually, that's what I'm doing. Like when I'm journaling, I write down like I do like a short like 6-line review type of pointers work. But I remember with Blair Witch Project, my father came and was watching it, and then he kept on playing the last scene. It's like he wanted to see what happened, you know. So it was quite into it. And speaking of New Hollywood, another one that's really that I was still very young. Yes, I was in sixth form, and it made me cry by how beautiful it was. Space Odyssey.
Oh yeah,
okay. Of course, yeah,
of course.
The time warp sequence.
Yeah,
amazing, absolute classic. I think in my case, my love for movies started way back in primary school. When Lord of the Rings first came out in 2001, I was like 8, 9, and I went to watch it with my family, and that was like, wow, this is an experience watching the first Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring. That was quite the experience. And I was lucky Harry Potter was coming out at the same time as well, and I love to read. I love to read books, so I started reading The Hobbit at that age as well. I started reading Harry Potter books. So it like worked out perfectly. My love for books and my love for movies, so kind of like joined together at that age of like 9, 10, 11. So I think that's what inspired me and my love for movies. Then eventually at like the age of 16, 17, 18, my tastes in movies, like you said, started to mature a little more. And I started varying the kind of movies I used to watch. I used to watch a lot of historical movies at that age. Like I was crazy about Gladiator, Kingdom of Heaven. There was a real influx of historical movies in those like 2002, 3, 4, 5, following the success of like Gladiator and Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, no, for sure.
There was Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, which was like a medieval fantasy movie as well.
Yeah.
Also really successful. I think that was the period of time that kind of like I was like, yeah, this is something that I love doing.
You know, the funny part of Gladiator, I think I watched it 5-6 years later because everyone's so talking about it, and I'm like, I'm not gonna watch it so far.
I think I've watched Gladiator about 30 times.
Madonna.
Damn, 30 times.
It's another one that was just always on at my house. Again, we had the DVD, and like now even like my friends love it. It could be like we could get in like after a night out or something, and my friends just go like, "Oh, there's Gladiator on Netflix. We should watch it."
Yeah, actually, I think speaking of Lord of the Rings, I think their effects really hold out well. Yeah,
they do. It's a practical effect, so that really
and he also used miniatures as well. I think the first Lord of the Rings, the thing that impressed me most was what were the 2 statues when they were going down the river.
Oh yeah,
with the hands out, as they enter Gondor, the kings of Gondor.
The 2 things of that still an image stamped in my mind. How
the original Lord of the Rings movies are like incredible when it comes to stuff like that, and as you say, the use of miniatures and all that stuff.
Oh.
But compare the Lord of the Rings to like the Star Wars prequels.
Yeah.
Look at the VFX of the Star Wars prequels and compare them to Lord of the Rings, and they came out in the same period of time. The difference is shocking.
Yeah.
Wait, so just a second. Let me do a quick internet sleuthing here to check when the Star Wars sequels came out. Was before Lord of the Rings, right?
The prequels, I believe,
the prequels.
2002, I want to say. The first, 1999 was The Phantom Menace.
1999, I remember going to watch Phantom Menace.
Yeah, I remember my brother taking me to go and see it.
With my dad, in my case. Came out in 2001, but they were filmed in the very late 90s, I believe. Because all 3 movies were filmed together.
Yeah.
2001, 2003, Istra. Guys, we're old. 2003.
Yeah, we are.
2003, what up, Istra?
Man.
Yeah, no. Oh, it's true, yeah, but they're miles apart. It's an interesting. By Revenge of the Sith, it's like
It had leveled out a bit by then. I'll still never forgive
yes.
George Lucas for making the floor CGI for some reason I don't understand.
No, let's not get into that. That will be a whole episode rant.
the floor CGI, the player,
In Attack of the Clones, yeah, you can see that the floor they're walking on is not actual physical floor. It's obviously just green screen, and they've made it CGI.
I can't imagine being an actor on a movie where literally everything is green.
Yeah.
Like, how are you supposed to act when like everything is green? There's nothing real.
Just have a really good imagination.
That's, I think one of the hardest moments of being an actor, to be honest.
And poor Hayden Christensen, because after that he didn't get any. He didn't get any bookings far enough.
He got all the hate for that movie. Him and Jar Jar Binks, the actor for Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah,
was another poor.
It's not like Star Wars fans are toxic or anything, but
No, not at all.
No. Matarash.
Anyways, okay, guys. So with the intro done and dusted, here's what you can expect to hear about in today's show. First of all, we'll be talking briefly about content we have watched and played in the past weeks. We'll then be discussing the Comic-Con experience, which took place in Brazil this past weekend, where there were some major announcements and trailers. Then we had a surprise tease for Bong Joon-ho's new film, led by the Batman's Robert Pattinson, followed by reviews of some of the biggest movies of November, including Black Panther, The Menu, amongst others. As you can tell, we have loads to talk about today, so let's rush on to our first segment of the day, and let's just talk a little bit for a few minutes. What have we been watching in the past few weeks? Joe, can you start off here? What have been some of the content you've watched in the past couple of weeks?
Okay, so the past couple of weeks, I did make it at the beginning of this year more of a point to watch more TV shows because I can be notoriously bad with that, and I think I've done pretty well. For those of you on the Prickly Pears group, you know that I laid out my undying love for Andor because I think it's on par with Barry as the best show of the year so far. There's no contest in my eyes. And I've also been watching the White Lotus. I watched season 1 of that, and I'm midway through season 2, and I'm really, really enjoying that as well.
Okay, so I've watched quite a few actually. I've watched both Enola Holmes, the new Benson and Moorhead movie, Something in the Dirt, Triangle of Sadness, what else? And Troll, yeah. I'm checking this second because I took note of all the movies that I've seen recently. The most recent was Enola Holmes 2.
What do you think about Enola Holmes, Franco?
The jarring element in it, because I know. Okay, the feminism is too on the nose. I think that's why I prefer She Said, and I know I tell you why it's too on the nose in Enola Holmes, because the writers were male. And She Said both the writers and the directors were women, and you could see that there's much more of a genuine concern about it. But for example, Enola Holmes 2, I'm thankful for Enola Holmes 2 for letting me know about Sarah Chapman, which is a really historical figure. But then at the end of the day, it realizes the issue. You get what I mean? Because
yeah.
It's entertaining. Billy Bobby Brown.
No, it's entertaining. That's it. That's pretty much it, I think.
And Billy Bobby Brown has a great charm as an actress. Even Henry Cavill got to like flex his acting muscles, not just his other muscles.
Fair enough. No, I agree completely. Meh. I think it was kind of meh, but at the same time, like I didn't mind watching it either. It's like I didn't feel like I wasted 2 hours of my time. It was fine. Like I watched
No,
2 hours of Enola Holmes 2 with my girlfriend. It was over. Okay.
Yeah,
Next.
it's the movies I call to pass the time. You know, I need something light. I put that.
Fast food movies, I guess. I mean,
And-
Netflix specializes in fast food.
I have now, but somewhat because if you're speaking of series, I saw Vatican Girl, which was great. But basically, in the sense of great, it's incredible. Like you wouldn't believe the stuff that that happened in Italy as far as conspiracies goes. And but then I saw something that surprised me. I expected more action, to be honest. But storytelling wise, it wasn't that bad. It's called Troll. It's a Norwegian Netflix movie, and like something that I really noted is how well done the special effects were, to the point that I said these special effects are better than the recent Marvel movies. I really wonder if they used like some practical effects or some miniatures, especially when there's the troll like going through Oslo. Like apparently there's this iconic logo that the troll hit as he was rampaging around. It's like it's really looked lived in, you know?
I watched the trailer for Troll, and I thought it looked bloody fantastic.
Yeah, I suggested watching that to my girlfriend the other night, and she said, "Fuck no." So we watched The Wonder instead.
Why?
She's just not into movies about trolls, I guess. Yeah, we watched The Wonder instead, which was okay.
The
I
one
like
there's
that.
Florence Pugh.
Yes,
Yeah, Florence Pugh,
yes.
yeah.
In fact, my letterbox review was lots of poo amongst the pew, but enough pew to make it worth it.
our Saint Florence Pugh.
Yes,
I think my current favorite actress in Hollywood right now.
100% agree.
Guys, Mia Goth, sorry.
Actually, yeah, no, good point. After
yeah,
watching
Mia Goth.
after watching Pearl recently,
Pearl.
yeah,
Oh
I have
my-
to agree.
I actually, that's another movie I saw recently. Yes, Pearl.
Yeah, I watched
pref-
Pearl fairly recently as well, only 9 days ago, according to my log. But
Do you think, guys, do you think Pearl will make it in your top 10 movies of the year?
it's been a weird year, so probably yes.
I think
Franco.
I think so. Like I preferred it than X for sure.
Yeah, I did. Same.
No, I thought X was more fun.
X, yes, it's true. X is more fun and it's more horror in your face. But you have to appreciate the fact how, like, I really appreciate the fact how he took these 90s, 50s melodramas and
Yeah,
Mia Goth, because Mia Goth is also got writing credit,
yeah,
and they injected it with this real absurd, not absurd humor, horror.
yeah. No, I really like that they're just making very well-known like subgenres of horror in the same like universe of films. So you've got X, which is quite obviously an ode to like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it borders much more on a horror comedy and a lot more B-movie. But then you've got Pearl,
True.
which also has a bit of that absurdism to it, but it's a lot more psychological then. It's more akin to something like Carrie than it is to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
No. I think I would say it looks more something like Martin Scorsese put it like brilliantly, because it looked like a Nicolas Ray movie. And Nicolas Ray was a famous like director of 1950s melodramas. Even the way they use the Technicolor as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just love the fact that they both cost $3 million.
That's
And it looks the way it did and it has the effects that it has, and then you get like a Marvel movie which costs like $300 million.
no, of course, for sure. Even Everything Everywhere All at Once, that's costs around 60 million to make.
Yeah,
That cost only 60 million.
Mela.
Wow. Okay. And I'm not the biggest fan of Everything Everywhere All at Once,
I
by the way.
love that film to death.
Okay, Andrea, get out of the podcast. We're gonna take over.
Yeah, let's kick out the host. This is officially an Everything Everywhere All at Once podcast.
But honestly, actually, speaking of the host, I have to say, oh my God, he has great presentation skills, huh?
Yes, he's clearly very good at this. Franco, you and I would not be able to hold this podcast. It would be a very slow and rambling descent into madness.
Yes.
I have my notes. I follow the notes. That's what makes me a good teacher, I guess. Talking about being a good teacher, let's move on.
Yes, sir.
So I just made a list of like stuff I've watched in the past 2 weeks, and like Joe, it's mostly series. So I watched The Crown, which I love, but I found it a little disappointing compared to the last season, 1899, which I stopped because I just couldn't get into the story.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. And
I'm like 3 episodes in. It's very good.
I
Sorry?
don't know. Something didn't click with 1899.
You saw Dark and Maushek.
Yes, I did.
Okay. What did you say, Joe, about
I've only seen 3 episodes of 1899, and I've seen only 1 season of Dark. My complaint with Dark is I don't like how season 1 ended, so I really need to like pick myself up to actually watch season 2 and the rest of it.
I think as far as Dark goes, season 3 was quite convoluted. I remember my brain genuinely feeling like it was being fried.
Yeah, true. Too true.
Because it's like, wait, what? that was my
So, wait, what is a perfect description of Dark? Then I started Willow. I don't know if you guys watched the original Willow. I started the series and it's god awful.
5 when I watched it.
Willow. I may have watched it when I was very young. I have to rewatch it.
It's a Lucas production, George Lucas production.
Yeah.
I started the series. I watched the first 2 episodes. It's really bad. It's like awful bad. But it's so bad, I think I might continue watching it though. So there's that. And Wednesday, I'm midway through Wednesday. I'm watching it with my girlfriend, so I'm taking it easy. Yeah, I'm loving Wednesday. It's really good. I'm having a blast watching it.
Okay. How long is it? Because I that's the thing.
8 episodes, around like 45 to 50 minutes per episode, more or less.
Right.
It's good. It's very good. I would highly recommend it.
Okay. Oh, so as long as it's so I see. Because I'm not a fan of series, but I will check out Andor, especially.
Yeah, Andor is a must
Don't get me
watch.
started on Andor, because I'll never stop.
like apparently I saw. Do you guys know Thomas Flight?
No?
No, what's that?
Thomas Flight, basically, he's a video essayist, and he made recently his recent video was about Andor and how when he's like he made a comparison with the Obi-Wan series and Andor, where the Obi-Wan series they started on the world, right, and then focused on the characters, and it seemed like a gimmick, but Andor, like the first few shots was about the character. Like even you see the street lights. You don't see like Mos Eisley. What was the city?
Yeah, Mos Eisley. Yeah.
So you don't see the city, for example. You see the character first, and then the city.
Yeah.
In a way, it's like I think it's sort of. I wouldn't say Blade Runner, because Blade Runner's first shot is actually it sets the world. But Blade Runner also has good characterization as well, as far as
I can in the first 10 minutes of Andor I can see similarities to Blade Runner as someone who deeply loves Blade Runner and now deeply loves Andor. I'm really holding myself back from turning this into an Andor podcast, so I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
Let's stop it there. But just one small comment: the opening scene in Andor was bloody brilliant.
Incredible.
The rain and the lighting. Yeah, let's stop there. It was really, really good.
I look forward to it.
No, it's really good. It's really good. And don't let the slow pace put you off, Franco.
That's the best thing about it.
No.
It's the best thing about it.
Actually, like I was going to ask Joe about Blade Runner. What's it called? Blade Runner
2049.
2049.
It's the sequel we didn't deserve, but we got it.
That's true, because 2049, I found it slow paced, but as far as production design was great. I mean, and then even I appreciated the second time round.
Yeah, it's definitely slow, but I mean, like, even like Blade Runner isn't exactly like a thrilling thriller ride, is it? Kind of matches up that way.
That's true, for sure.
All right, so let's move on to our first actual topic now. So the first actual topic of the day is the Comic-Con Experience 2022, which took place in Brazil. There were a number of announcements and trailers, and we can start off with Guardians of the Galaxy Episode 3, where we had the first trailer for Guardians released online after it was shown at CCXP. In the trailer, we saw our first look of Adam Warlock in the MCU. Guys, did you get to watch the trailer?
Yeah, I did.
What did you think about it? How does it look?
People are going to definitely dub me as the Marvel pessimist when it comes to this kind of stuff. But I mean, it looks like more Guardians of the Galaxy. That's as nice as I can be about it. Adam Warlock looks kind of cool, I guess. The CGI looks terrible, and I can kind of figure out what's going to happen with the film from the trailer. So
yeah. The emotional beats are quite clear.
Yeah, I mean, at least what you're gonna get, because it's James Gunn, it's gonna be very, very well made at the least. It may not be like the best plotting, but at least it's going to be very well made, very well shot, and should probably be fun at least.
Yeah, I think it's James Gunn that's gonna make the movie, because it's like, I agree a lot with Joel, the CGI compared, again, that's what I said about Troll. It's like when I saw Troll and then I saw the trailer of Guardians of the Galaxy, it's like, my God, but why? Because even what's Rocket's Raccoon like? I mean, there's no Uncanny Valley anymore now. It's just like, I know you're a CGI character now.
There isn't. I agree completely. The CGI is just. But to be fair, I think they're still working on the CGI in post-production. So generally, the final product looks much better than it does in the trailer, because they would be still working on post-production. I would imagine that would be the issue.
But
the issue here.
It's something I found jarring in Doctor Strange, actually, and the Multiverse of Universe. Because that put me off.
I felt the same with Thor: The Dark World as well.
Yeah, no, even Love and Thunder.
Really,
yeah.
I thought Thor.
I meant Love and Thunder, not The Dark World. The Dark World is a really, really bad Thor movie.
I didn't mind the CGI in Thor. I thought it was actually the best aspect of the whole thing. I hated Thor, by the way, the last Thor.
Oh no, it was terrible. Love and Thunder. It was legitimately boring.
I thought the way it looked, though, was one of its better aspects, though. Especially the black and white scene.
The black and white scene, where it should have been its most like visually wow scene. And okay, I didn't watch it in a theater. I watched it at home, and I've got a 4K television. It should look bloody good. I was like, it just looks fake. It should look really cool, but it just looks really like everyone looks really fake.
I thought it looked brilliant.
It's underwhelming.
Could it be a cinema thing?
It probably could be, just because I mean, if it's projected to that size, it definitely makes more of an impact. But just on my TV, which, I mean, I've got a very small flat, and my TV kind of takes up most of the room, it didn't look very good at all.
Well, no, but the thing is Fincher uses a lots of VFX, and we never noticed them. But Fincher said that the way he uses VFX and special effects is not to brag about
in your
VFX.
face.
Yes, it's all in the service of the story.
Yeah, exactly.
Now it has with Marvel, it has become like oh, look at these new words, how cool these new words look. But
I heard this story about Black Widow. So apparently the action scenes for Black Widow were designed before the actual movie was written or even started production. So they had the action scenes planned out before the story.
That's one thing. And secondly, some of them were reshot, and there are some guys do watch Corridor Crew, because they really do great special VFX breakdowns. There was a moment where Florence, our lady and savior, Florence Pugh, when there's a moment where something explodes and she falls off, and they say that it's one of the worst VFX they ever saw. Because even the explosion
Yeah, it
doesn't
was
match.
really bad.
I haven't seen Still Black Widow, so
Yeah, Black
I'm
Widow
terrible.
effects on Black Widow were, wow, the action was. I that was one of I think the only Marvel movies where I was like, when is this going to end?
Oh, and what about where?
Because generally Marvel movies are at least watchable. Even the bad ones are at least watchable, and you go out of the cinema and you're like, okay, I just watched a bit of action and special effects, okay. But it had me almost in tears by how bad I thought
Yeah.
Black Widow was.
It's true.
It had Florence Pugh, my absolute favorite actress right now.
Yeah, and
Which is saying
it
something.
managed to actually get a somewhat mediocre performance out of her as well, which I didn't think was possible.
Yep.
But what did you think about Werewolf by Night? I found it charming, but it didn't win me over totally.
It was okay. I thought
It was unique considering it was under the Marvel banner, so I'll give it that.
Yeah, it was unique. It was unique. I think, that's I was going to say it to you, Joe, because it's more of the same. Werewolf by Night is not more of the same.
No, well, that's
wasn't-
definitely, but it's definitely like. I don't think we're going to see more stuff like Werewolf by Night. That was a 55-minute film made to go directly to Disney Plus.
Not with Bob Iger now in charge again. We're definitely not going to, because
Yeah.
all right, the one good thing we got in Phase 4 out of Marvel, because the quality went down with all the series coming out and a bunch of movies, it's clear that the quantity was given more attention than the quality in Phase 4 for Marvel. The good thing about that was that there was more diversity. So, like, we had comedies in She-Hulk, there was kind of like the horror element in Werewolf by Night. So there was some diversity here and there. I think Phase 5 is going to be back to like the old Phase 3 of Marvel, where we've got like Ant-Man and Guardians,
Yeah.
and
I mean, now they
you
need
know.
to build towards, like, I guess, the Avengers coming back together to fight some
Exactly.
big CGI
Exactly.
bad guy again.
No,
so,
Hey,
Are they going down the lane of the new Avengers though? Like with Miss Miss Marvel,
we've got
right?
the Marvels coming out as well. I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to that, to be
Miss
honest.
Marvel,
I thought-
She-Hulk.
Miss Marvel was great. It was a really fun series.
Blades. I would love to see how they're going to take Blades.
I don't think Blade is going to see the light of day, to be honest.
I see what you did there.
But yeah, I think it's gone too quiet on Blade. I think we would have seen a bit more of it by now. They could claim it's in production, it's being written, but I mean that was announced 4 years ago.
Did you guys check out, like, I haven't seen Venom and Mobius as well.
Oh, boy.
I watched Venom
Oh,
2
boy.
on a flight to South Africa, and it failed to put me to sleep. I'll give it that, but
Oh.
I think it was a combination of being overtired and just bored.
Did you guys see my review for Morbius?
I didn't. But
No.
I do like what a meme that film has become. I'll say that much.
If you want to see a man in despair, watch my review for Morbius, and
Noted.
that's
Okay.
it. And the next one is more of the same, unfortunately, Joe. Because the next one is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which, to be fair, I think from all the Marvel movies is the one I'm looking forward to the most.
It just looks like Spy Kids 4.
I love Paul Rudd, so there's that. That might be why I'm a little biased
Yeah,
towards
it's like Spy Kids all grown up. That's what it looks like.
But this is the interesting thing, because when I saw the trailer for that, okay, I know it's CGI, but it looked kind of better. I don't know what was the difference. So I don't know if it's the studio, or they managed actually to give them enough time for the artists to polish their work instead of getting, because this is an actual term, instead of getting pixel fogged. No, it is an actual, like they say, they pixel fog is basically they give them all the work, and then all of a sudden, like, say, for example, 2 weeks before the trailers show, they tell them to change a whole bunch of shots
Yeah.
So that's what
Good
they call
God.
it.
Oh,
And Ant-Man, it looks promising. But again, I hesitate to go watch. I think I would go watch it on cinema just to say I would watch something blow up, basically.
yeah. I watched something blow up. That's really. I'm looking at the trailer again, and I'm seeing something blow up right now. So, Ant-Man. I think if they push really hard on Paul Rudd and his really good brand of humor, I think it can be a decent movie. I'm not expecting it to be like top tier Marvel. It's just another Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Do you ever wonder if how the Edgar Wright Ant-Man would have turned out? I'm always wondering, Extra.
At least once a week.
What do we?
I wonder that at least once a week.
Okay.
Because I'm like this. I do like Paul Rudd, and he's very very likable as a person and as an actor. And as Andrea said, he's got a nice, very accessible brand of comedy.
Yeah.
I don't really like Ant-Man, and I would have just liked to have seen what a very gifted director and writer would have done with that character. I think it would have been quite different to what we have.
For sure.
Fair enough. Do you think we'll see Loki in Ant-Man? I think makes sense to have him in the movie, especially since we've got what's his name? Jonathan Majors
Khan the Conqueror.
Khan
It's true.
the Conqueror.
Yeah, he's apparently the new Thanos. Apparently.
Yeah. Did you guys watch Loki the series?
I did not.
Yeah, I saw it. There was one episode which is like, was it episode 4 or 5? It was so much filler, Madonna.
I'm still one of those people. I can't understand how Loki is alive.
Oh yeah.
No, but because they introduced the multiverse.
The multiverse.
Yeah,
multiverse.
So now everyone's back.
It's a
Yay.
big Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh no, we made a mistake. We wrote out a really popular character. Bring him back from the multiverse.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
Loki, I really liked the production design of the the time. What's it called? Is it called the Authority?
Yeah. The timekeeping.
I don't know.
Oh God, what was? Let me look it up. Loki time.
Because even always it was quite charming. Like
Time variance authority.
yeah, time variance
Timekeepers.
The TVA.
TVA. That's it. Yeah. No, I loved the look of the offices and yeah, that was great. I actually enjoyed that quite a bit.
Very but and that I enjoyed it, but again there was that one episode that's like what the hell was this episode? You know, it was like
I think it was episode 3 or 4. I remember, Franco, we both discussed this on Prickly Pears, where we were discussing like either episode 3 or 4, and we were both like we're kind of over the series, but at the same time we're going to continue watching it. But I think we're both in agreement that the one episode was horrible, absolutely horrible. Loki. But I thought it was fine, as in, I mean, like Joe says, it's just another Marvel product at the end of the day.
I'll check.
Next up, we had a trailer for The Mandalorian Season 3. Actually, not a trailer, just there was... the trailer we got already with regard to Mandalorian, how we got to see Din Djarin and Bo-Katan Kryze, who will be competing for the throne. Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau made a video appearance discussing like the conflict that there will be between Din Djarin and Bo-Katan in Season 3. I think that will be the main focus for Season 3 of The Mandalorian. You guys are both fans of The Mandalorian, from what I get, right?
Overall, yeah.
Overall, yes.
Overall, yeah. I have some problems, actually quite a lot of problems with Season 2.
Ending, I would imagine it's the ending, right?
I mean, spoilers to anyone that hasn't seen The Mandalorian, but I'm kind of like, the freshest thing about Andor is that it doesn't give a shit about my nostalgia, or doesn't give a shit about the Force or about the Jedi or stuff like that. And I really liked The Mandalorian when in Season 1 it was just the typical Western trope of old wolf and young cub going across the galaxy on an adventure. And I really liked that. You didn't need Luke Skywalker. You didn't. Okay, maybe Ahsoka Tano was pretty cool, to add, I was hoping instead of Luke Skywalker, they'd bring in Cal Kestis from the video game Jedi Fallen Order, just to kind of tie that into the universe.
I haven't played that. I haven't played Jedi Fallen Order.
It's good. It's a good game. That's a talk for another time. But yeah,
yeah, definitely.
I didn't need CGI Luke Skywalker there. Literally for the only purpose of, ooh, look, it's Luke Skywalker. Old people remember who he is. You know?
Well, to be fair, it was quite a big hype moment. I saw the video. There's a video on YouTube with a number of YouTube reactors reacting to Luke Skywalker appearing.
Yeah.
It is a little emotional. Watching all these people like overreact to it. I know they're overreacting, but it did bring out a bit of emotion out of me. But yeah, I agree. It felt a little forced as well. To be honest, yeah,
I get the emotion behind it, but like as you say, that's exactly what it's designed to do. It's not designed to serve any greater plot or story purpose. It's designed for you to like oogle at it and be like, "Holy shit, Luke Skywalker!" But then that's all it is. It's very surface level.
Especially considering how they went around the whole thing. Then in the next series, what was the next?
In the Book of Boba Fett.
In the Book of Boba Fett, they just like, okay, he's back now.
Yeah, Boba Fett,
Bye,
mayor of Tatooine.
Oh,
I'm watching the trailer.
let's not get into.
I didn't know that was the trailer for season 3. Looks good.
Yeah. No, it does look good. It does look good.
It always does. Like, to be fair, like if one thing is good on the Mandalorian, it's production design and its prolific level of that.
Even Grogu. That's another thing. Grogu being practical, it makes a whole lot of difference.
So
yes, of course,
makes such a big difference.
I mean, it's just nice to see like physical stormtroopers rather than CGI clones.
Yeah, as the Mandalorian would say, this is the way.
Yeah,
this is the way. I mean, as long as you've got someone like Favreau and someone like Filoni taking care of Star Wars, I think their love for Star Wars really comes out in the Mandalorian.
Rodriguez was mostly responsible for the Western elements.
Yeah,
Filoni's been taking care of Star Wars for over a decade now, so he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Okay, so after The Mandalorian, we got the official title for Indiana Jones 5, which is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. We got the first trailer for the movie, which was shown. According to GameSpot, we see Phoebe Waller-Bridge as Indy's goddaughter Helena. We see Ford de-aged, some familiar stunts like in the previous films. We see Indy jumping some subway turnstiles while riding a horse. I thought overall the trailer did kind of deliver. It's what I expect out of an Indiana Jones trailer.
Yeah.
Franco, what did you think about the trailer?
It feels like it's not going to be it's not going to be a Jurassic World. What was falling? Wait, Dominion? Jurassic World Dominion. It's not a nostalgia cash grab. It seems like they really put effort into the adventure. And
Fallen Kingdom.
Fallen Kingdom. There.
That's the one.
Dominion, the last one. No,
that's the 2018 one. The 2022 one, the one which was filmed in Malta. Jurassic World Dominion.
Dominion, yeah. Madonna. that movie was like. Anyway. Because I have many qualms about that movie, not just about it, but also about the whole shebang after. But I'm excited to see Phoebe Waller-Bridge. I think she was involved in the writing in it as well, right?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know that either.
And she seems like quite the action figure. It's not just the horror. Not just the.
Yes, that I definitely can agree on. Yeah.
The aging looks great. I think what's happened with the de-aging is they're using AI technology, which has become frighteningly good. It's also good to see Toby Jones not being a Nazi for once.
Yes. So he makes a very good one.
Yes.
I agree. It at least does look like the foundations of what an Indiana Jones film is. Whether it's going to be any good or not remains to be seen. Apparently, I don't know if you guys have seen, the test screenings have been very, very, very bad.
Of
I
what?
heard some information about that. I heard that was complete misinformation. As in there were no test screenings.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know if this is true or not, but from information I heard after, because I read about that as well. Then I did some research on it, and apparently there were no test screenings, or at least that's what the producers said. I don't know who to believe, to be honest.
I guess time will tell. Another weird thing I did kind of like about it was you see a lot of Glasgow in the trailer, which is where I live. So it's quite cool walking by the set like a year and a half ago, and then you see it, and it actually really does look like New York. Then you kind of go like, no, I know that building. There's a Tesco there.
No, I'm looking forward. Actually, I want to watch the first three again. I haven't.
I think you can skip 2.
Why?
2 is Temple of Doom is weird.
Skip 4.
Yeah, definitely skip 4.
I remember Temple of Doom when he takes his heart out. Like, it was
no, Temple of Doom is just a bizarre film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, after Indiana Jones, we've got a movie all three of us are really looking forward to, and that's Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. My absolute favorite series of movies.
Is it Michael Bay again?
I don't think it is.
Wow,
Let me check who's
finally
directing.
let go. He stopped beating the dead horse for money, I guess.
Hey, the first Transformers I enjoyed. Okay.
Okay, we went all through your love for the first Transformers movie off the record, and I think it should remain off the record.
I think it should. So the director is Stephen Capel Jr.
I don't know.
Oh, he made Creed 2. Creed 2 was actually not bad.
It's okay.
I haven't watched any of the Creeds yet. So I watched the first 2 entries. So Transformers and the Revenge of the Fallen.
I think I watched 3 of them, but they just all become like one clusterfuck.
Yes, no,
of thoughts.
they're a mess. So I'm not. I just watch it I just watch it for the heck of it.
Yeah,
I mean, isn't clusterfuck the perfect word to describe the Transformers movies?
probably
chaos.
Chaotic. There's the term Bayhem, which is I think is perfect for it.
Yes.
It's just headache-inducing for me. I can't watch Transformers in the cinema. I just get a really bad headache, and I think I'll just throw up and get all nauseous. What I remember enjoying was the sound design of the robots. Fair enough. Yeah, the sound design actually was pretty good.
From a technical point of view, it's fantastic.
No. Technically, it is. It's just a bit too much.
Also, here's a bit of trivia. Apparently, Michael Bay reuses some of his old footage.
Oh, he absolutely does. I've seen a video of like the comparisons of that.
Yeah, like there was one of the Decepticons was chasing it. Wow, I forgot what the others are called. Decepticons. Autobots. He was chasing an Autobot down the highway, and it's the same shot from
the island. No,
the island. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I had no idea.
Let's just a second. Let me see if we can find the video for you and we link it.
Sure, please do.
So Michael Bay is literally the definition of just cocaine filmmaker. I'm pretty sure the guy just has an endless supply when he's on set. He's like creatively like stunted. He goes in, fucking does a line of cocaine, comes out, like, right, I need 7 explosions. They're gonna go from here. We're gonna run the actor through it, and it's gonna be insane.
Guys, have you seen Ambulance by any chance?
I was gonna ask. I haven't seen
Not
it.
yet.
No.
I watched it in the cinema, and oh my god, it was explosions. Everything explodes, and literally the camera, I agree on the cocaine part, because literally the camera does not stop moving. Even as discussion, the emotional point of the movie, the scene still has like 20 fucking edits in it, in the whole thing. It's like, please stop, I want to see their faces. And there are 2 decent actors on screen for Ambulance, but the camera is just shaking all the time. They're talking about an emotional moment, and it's just cut. It's just calm down. Just give the movie a second to breathe. He just cannot let the movie breathe.
Jake,
I had a good time. I enjoyed it. I actually really enjoyed Ambulance for the actions. The action scenes were really well shot. So on that aspect, I cannot complain at all. But obviously, then it's Michael Bay. So
Jake Gyllenhaal actually said that it was he's crazy. Like there was a scene where there was a helicopter chasing them around. That is like, wait, what? It's like there's going to be a helicopter chasing us. Like Jake Gyllenhaal didn't know that that's going to happen. Basically,
that was actually a really good scene, and watching it in the cinema was brilliant.
For sure.
And even to be fair, even the cinematography in that scene was brilliant. Like me and my friend were like, "Oh, this actually looks really good."
Yeah, I think Bay's he's got an eye for chaos and action.
Him and Zack Snyder are good action directors.
Yeah, they probably make insane trailers.
That's true, and that's what they said. Like if at least if you're going to watch the movies of Michael Bay and Zack Snyder, watch them for their actions, not for their characterization.
No, it's like Pearl Harbor. The first 40 minutes of that film suck. Like the romantic and story element, but as soon as the bombing starts, it's incredible.
Once everything goes boom, it looks really good. Okay, so after Transformers, we've got the last trailer to talk about, and we've got The Last of Us. HBO Max has released a full trailer for the upcoming Last of Us series, which is starring Pedro Pascal, coming to HBO and the HBO Max streaming service. So The Last of Us takes place 20 years after modern civilization has been destroyed, and we've got Joel, a hardened survivor, who is hired to smuggle Ellie, a 14-year-old girl, out of the quarantine zone. As described for the series, what starts as a small job soon becomes a brutal and heartbreaking journey as they both must traverse the US and depend on each other for survival. It is a 9-episode season which premieres on January 15th. Joe, I know you've played the games. Any expectations for this?
I'm cautiously optimistic, though whenever I like watching this trailer and seeing like any kind of image that comes out, I'm just like, hands in the sky, put it in my veins, I can take anything of The Last of Us. But what got me the most about this most recent trailer, I'm pretty sure I can say we all love Pedro Pascal, but what got me the most is how much he looks like Joel in the game, in the new scenes we've seen him in, and not just like his face or anything, but his movements, even just the way he carries a gun. He's clearly really like dove headfirst into that character, and it seems like kind of everyone has. I am most excited for Nick Offerman as Bill, because that's just a casting match made in heaven, if you ask me.
That's perfect, actually, really true.
It's got the potential to be like the show of the year, and coming out in January, it could start really strong for HBO, with the writers behind it, with the director behind it, with just HBO behind it and the cast. You've got a fantastic foundation with the Last of Us story from the games, and like the director and writer of the games, Neil Druckmann, has said things are going to differentiate a little bit. I still think the main through line is going to be there. So yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic, bordering on hype, which I don't like to do.
Franco.
No, I think what's promising is that's from the same creators of Chernobyl, which I have to confess I haven't watched yet, but I'll make it.
Don't worry, same.
Oh my God, really?
Yep. It was one of those ones everyone was talking about it and saying, "Oh, you should watch it," and I kind of just like, I'm sure you've seen like the Mad Pingu meme where he just like crosses his arms. It's like, well, nah, I'm not doing it.
I'm going to be another guy to tell you should watch it.
It's on my list. I'll get to it.
It's the same thing with Gladiator. Oh, it was so good. Okay. I'll watch it eventually.
Yeah, it is. At that point, you're just like, okay, people, shut the fuck up. I'll watch it in my own time.
Yeah, I'm super excited for The Last of Us. I think the opening of The Last of Us is one of the few times I was actually playing a single-player video game, and I was pretty much in tears. I think the opening sequence of The Last of Us was brilliant.
It's ridiculous.
I did have some issues with some of the writing in the second game, which we don't have time to discuss, but I did have some issues with some of the decisions made in the writing for the second game.
Yeah.
But I thought overall the second game was still a brilliant achievement.
Yeah.
Like in production design and in the story and the action and the way overall the characters develop, I thought, especially the ending, was out of this world for a video game. For a video game to be able to tell as good a story, it was really impressive. I have one concern, just one small concern, because you mentioned that it's going to differentiate a little bit.
Yeah.
But from what I've seen out of both Ellie and Joel, I think it's going to be pretty much seeing the same characters instead of on a video game and a screen.
Yeah.
So I hope it doesn't become repetitive.
Yeah, I think the characters will mostly remain the same. I think certain events might change, and I think in this day and age of wokeism, we're going to see some possible gender flips or stuff like that, which is, I mean, it doesn't matter because it's set in a real world. So as long as the characters are good and they're interesting, it really, really doesn't matter. But yeah, there are some, probably like the big, you could probably name 5 really big moments from the first game, which you probably need to have in there because they're very, very big emotional kind of keystones of that story. But there's a lot to play with as well. Because I mean, you kind of have more time. You can finish The Last of Us in 6 hours if you really go for it. And we've got 9 episodes, presumably of about an hour each. So you have a bit more time there.
Which company is it? Is it Ubisoft or Bethesda?
Naughty Dog.
Naughty Dog.
Okay. They make pretty much the best story writing in all video games.
Yeah, they're certainly up there.
Them, Rockstar. They have the best writing.
Rockstar Red Dead Redemption, check.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So, by the way, Joe, Naughty Dog did God of War as well, or was that another?
No, that is Sony Santa Monica.
God of War?
I'm currently playing.
Oh, that's Santa Monica.
Currently playing God of War Ragnarok. Very, very good.
I was shocked by the first like remake of the God of War, how good the writing was for that.
Incredible. That's I can do an entire podcast series on those games.
There's a remake of God of War.
Yeah. And
came out in 2018.
I only played the first one. I haven't played the second one because I don't have a PS5. But I had a blast playing it. Like the game was brilliant, but I was surprised by how emotional it all was. Yeah. And the soundtrack was really good in that.
Yeah,
they changed a lot. I'm not a gamer, but that is one of my favorite games. Like the first trilogy is
the first trilogy is brilliant.
Such a great emotional arc.
Yeah.
Quick trivia. You know who Uwe is?
Yeah, Uwe Boll. Yeah.
Yeah, he was. I think they put him forward to direct a God of War movie starring Jimon Hunsu, and apparently,
of course,
the Santa Monica president is like, they knew who Uwe Boll was. It's like, he basically threw the idea out of the window. Think,
good.
Fuck, basically.
Good.
All right, so that was going to be it with regard to trailers, but obviously last night, ensuring that my sleep would be much shorter than I hoped it would be, a new trailer had to come out. Well, it wasn't really a trailer, just a small teaser, but considering the director behind it, obviously, I had to spend some time looking it up. So, according to Screen Rant, Warner Brothers unveiled a Mickey 17 teaser, which is the upcoming sci-fi thriller, including Robert Pattinson with Oscar winner Bong Joon-ho. The two announced they had been working on this project since, basically talking about it since January, Production kicked off in August for the film, and we got an exciting first glimpse of the Batman's Robert Pattinson, who seems to be situated in an odd-looking capsule. The announcement was for a March 2024 release date. Do you guys think Bong Joon-ho can top Parasite with this, Franco?
Actually, yeah, I'm looking forward for it. Plus, even for the fact that there's Robert Pattinson in it, because Robert Pattinson recently has been in many interesting projects. Like The Lighthouse, for example. That's one I can think of the top of my head. The Batman, he actually had the Batman quite well, I felt like. And Bong Joon-ho, that's his thing. You don't know what's going to come up. Like even Okja, I didn't know it was going to be a whole. He took the slant of like don't eat meat. Like he was
the veganism slant.
Yeah.
By the way, Franco, how do you pronounce? Because I've always wondered, how do you actually pronounce the name?
Bong Joon-ho.
Oh no, sorry. The name of the movie, Okja or Oksha? Okja. All right. Okay. Joe, what do you think?
Obviously, very, very big fan of Bong Joon-ho, and quite a big fan of when he's gone, like more sci-fi, like Snowpiercer. I believe it was him that did The Host as well, right?
Snowpiercer and The Host, madam.
The Host, yeah. I remember particularly enjoying The Host. Very big fan of Arpats as well. I like that he chooses these more interesting kind of projects. And I mean, the teaser doesn't really do much. It's just like one shot and you see him lying on some kind of bed. But I mean, it's space stuff. It's Bong Joon-ho. It's Robert Pattinson. The last thing I saw Robert Pattinson did involving space stuff was High Life, and I loved that. So I'm obviously looking forward to it.
I haven't watched that.
I don't like High Life. I'm sorry.
Well, I don't like you, Franco. So
well, let's sort things out then. Catch. No, honestly, shoot, there was Mia Goth in it as well.
yes, and
No.
Andre
Oh, then I have
3000,
to
a
watch
perfect
it.
movie.
No, I'm sorry, it's not a perfect movie. Honestly, I think many people are overselling that movie.
I'm exaggerating for the sake of it. I really like it, but it's definitely not a perfect movie.
No, like the sequence I liked, and it was very horrifying, is the black hole sequence.
Yes.
That was horrifying, but I expected like oh god, because it was so much hype. And Claire Denis, I noticed there's her movies. They have lots of great critic reviews, but the audience reviews are never well.
Yeah.
Like I think I would enjoy seeing what's the other side of the blade. What's it called with Juliette Binoche?
Yeah, I think that's the one.
Both Sides of the Blade, was it?
I think so. Both sides of the blade.
I don't think I've watched that. I heard about it though.
Yeah, Both Sides of the Blade. Like I would watch that. But High Life Extra, I was very disappointed. I expected more.
All right, so that's with regard to teasers, trailers, and upcoming content. Now let's talk about stuff we have actually watched. We've got a number of movies to talk about. We've got Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. We've got Armageddon Time. We've got She Said. We've got, am I forgetting anything else? We've got The Menu. So those are some of the movies we'll be discussing now. And then we're going to start off with Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and I'll be talking about that. It was basically November's undisputed box office boss. Considering the success of the first movie, I was expecting a lot out of it. Obviously, considering the context in which it was filmed, considering the tragic death of Chadwick Boseman, I honestly do think that Ryan Coogler did the best he could. I was a little iffy on the decision not to recast T'Challa, but having actually watched Black Panther 2, I must say I do agree with his decision now. It was powerful and emotional. I think the cinema was full. Basically, the cinema I was watching it in the embassy was pretty much full. and there were a lot of tears during many points of this movie. I loved how it touched onto a number of really, really powerful themes, like grief and loss. That was to be expected as well, like even the pressure of leadership on Shuri and on Angela Bassett's character, the Queen Ramonda. So I love that aspect. It also goes into colonialism and like the exploitation of resources, like in the first movie. I think the first Black Panther overall, it still did it better. But yeah, I thought even the performances were great. I don't know if Angela Bassett will get a supporting actress nomination at the Academy Awards. I know there was some chatter about that. I think she has a very good performance. I just don't think she was given enough material to work with to justify a nomination. I thought the character of Namor was portrayed really well by, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Tinoch Huerta, I think is the name of the actor. And I loved all the lore and the backstory behind Atlantis. There was a lot of fascinating lore there. Obviously, the negative aspect of all this is that it was bloated and it was extremely long. I think it was almost 3 hours, 2 hours and 40 minutes. Oh. So it was bloated. We had the introduction of a character of Ironheart, which I think could have been completely removed and completely unnecessary. I personally did not enjoy Dominic Torrance's performance as Ironheart. There was a lot of humor in her performance, which I would imagine didn't resonate with me because I'm an old, boring guy now. I would imagine her character resonating more with the younger audience. And there are a lot of moments where the narrative kind of grinds down to a halt and it like slows down way too much for a Marvel movie, let's put it that way. But overall, I enjoyed it. I thought the action was really well done as well. Although there are some moments where it was a bit too much, just like in the first Black Panther, where I thought the action was overdone a little bit and ruined some of the kind of like more... Since Black Panther has always been quite an emotional, powerful movie, even the first one. And sometimes, unfortunately, Marvel having to have a lot of action ruins that aspect a little bit. But overall, I would say it was a good watch. I enjoyed it. It's one of my favorite movies. I would say it's one of my favorite MCU movies of all time. It just needed some more time in the editing room, snip off maybe 20 minutes, more or less, from its running time. And it could have been one of the best, actually, Marvel movies of all time. Definitely my favorite in Phase 4. After I would imagine I'd put it behind Doctor Strange because I loved Doctor Strange. But yeah, I had a good time with it. Joe, you haven't watched it, right?
I have not, no. I'll happily watch it when it comes on to...
What did you think of the first Black Panther?
I mean, my kind of like stance on the Marvel movies is they are quite formulaic, so I kind of know what to expect going in. But what I did like the best about the first one is, I kind of agree unanimously with everyone, is that the villain was particularly good. Killmonger was a very, very good...
Killmonger was brilliant.
Like, that's one of my main problems with Marvel films. Usually their villains suck.
No,
but Killmonger happened to be a good one.
Yes. Killmonger's motivations and backstory in Lalo.
Yeah.
And how it tied up with the main with the hero himself, like Kotebo.
Yeah.
Namor was great as well in this. There were some moments where actually was like, Namor is actually right in this case. He's right to be doing what he's doing. So I think the Black Panther movies really do tackle the villains really well in both movies.
Yeah.
Franco.
No,
I like the first Black Panther. It's okay.
I wonder, you're now making me wonder how Jonathan Majors will handle Kang now, because in Loki he talked, because there's apparently there are many versions of Kang.
Yeah.
And in Loki he took it the more weird way, and in this one I don't know how it will be with Ant-Man.
Apparently the version we saw in Loki was the nice version.
Yeah, that's one thing.
The version we're going to see in Ant-Man is, I would imagine, is going to be more villainous. I don't know. I'll be honest, I wasn't in love with his portrayal of Kang in Loki.
Yeah, it was a bit too weird for the sake of it.
Yeah, I felt like exactly that was
but
it.
But to take it back to Black Panther, I mean, Killmonger I have another bit of trivia about Black Panther, but Killmonger was one of the greatest villains, and he was right in so many places. Like, but still, at the end of the day, to still keep. Wait? They said that they were accepting like people coming in now. Right? They opened Wakanda.
Kind of. Not exactly. It's
Okay.
kind of like an important plot point, so I won't spoil it for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there was a bit filmed in Busan in Korea. Apparently, the woman playing the old lady, her Korean was not good. It wasn't Korean whatsoever.
Are you talking about Angela Bassett?
No. In the first Black Panther, her Korean was not good.
Oh, the first Black Panther.
Yeah. You remember when they go to this illegal casino
Yeah.
and there's this woman in the
Oh,
market.
all right. No, I know what you're talking about. Oh, yeah.
It was
all right.
It was a big meme in Korea.
All right.
Because that's one interesting trivia I have. I haven't seen this. I will see. I think I'll check it out, like Joe said, when it is on Disney Plus.
It's one of the better Phase 4 movies. I'd recommend watching it, especially considering, like I said, the context with Chadwick Boseman dying and whatnot. I think it's well worth watching it.
Good to know.
Joe, you're next, and you're going to be talking about the menu.
Yes, so the menu. I will get a little bit of a plot summary just because I'm bad at these things. So the menu is directed by Mark Mylod, who, for those who've watched Succession, has directed many episodes of that. And it's about a couple travels to a coastal island to eat at an exclusive restaurant where the chef has prepared a lavish menu with some shocking surprises. Starring, I'm not sure if it's Ralph or Ray Fiennes, but I'm going to go with Ray Fiennes, Anya Taylor-Joy, and Nicholas Hoult. I watched this nearly 2 weeks ago now, just because it looked very interesting from the trailer. I watched a lot of Succession as well, so I liked what Mark Mylod was doing. And the trailer did kind of sell it as this, almost, at least the trailers I saw, sold it as kind of like a cult thriller, that there was going to be something sinister happening at this island. And I mean, if you've seen the trailer, it's no spoiler that yes, there is something more sinister going on behind the scenes. The film is basically, it borders on being a very absurd, dark comedy satire, and it kind of stays in that lane for half the film, and then it tries to get a bit too self-serious about halfway through. It's really good when it steers into that absurdity, and it's very funny. Nicholas Hoult, in particular, is hilarious. I don't know if you guys have seen The Great, but he's just got a real knack for this kind of very black comedy, and I've really come to like him in recent years, that kind of stuff. So he's a highlight in that. Anya Taylor-Joy is as dependable as ever, as is Ray Fiennes. I also really like this because I've loved cooking for a long time, but have now in recent years actually gotten more into like the actual proper craft of cooking and what puts together a meal and stuff like that. I was very hungry throughout the film because some stuff doesn't look delicious. But I do like that it was kind of a satire on this very like food as like high art, and then the artist behind it. There's a particular person who plays a food critic in it, which is a very, very good satirization of that kind of world and how pretentious it can be. But overall, it's fun. You'll definitely enjoy it. It doesn't overstay its welcome. But I wanted it to remain a bit more like leaning into its own absurdity. When it was very wacky, it was very fun. I didn't feel like it was as good when it was trying to like drive home a message, which I think is a simple message of rich people bad, working class people good. But yeah, no, it's definitely a fun
Without
movie.
spoiling the ending, Joe, what did you think about how the whole thing ended?
I feel like it kind of resolved itself a bit too conveniently and quickly.
Yeah, I agree completely.
Like I
That was my
do
thought as well.
like the kind of message about it, but I was kind of just like at the same time like that's it, you know?
Yeah.
I would ask you, how would you compare it with Triangle of Sadness?
I haven't seen Triangle of Sadness.
I haven't
sadly,
watched it
so
either,
I
so-
can't compare.
Okay. Okay. No, because I wasn't. 100% sold on Triangle of Sadness, unfortunately.
Yeah, I would say like I would recommend the menu to anyone who just wants to go watch something. Again, it's not too long. It will be funny at certain points, shocking at other points.
So you found it appetizing.
Yes, I was gonna say, a good appetizer. I would say that's very apt.
I mean, anything with Anya Taylor-Joy can't be in.
Yeah, she's dependable, as is I think now by this point Nick Holt as well, and even Ray Fiennes. Those three are at least going to be very good in what they're in. So you've got that. It's very stylishly done. I quite liked Andrea. You'll know the parts when they're eating the meals, how they kind of present them, and they will have their own little title, and those kind of get more ridiculous as they go.
That was so good. I love the humor as well in those.
That's what I mean. The humor was fantastic. I just didn't like it as much when it was trying to be like, we're trying to teach you a lesson. Like, you can teach me a lesson whilst making me laugh.
Social commentary.
Yeah.
It became preachy.
I didn't mind the social commentary, to be honest.
I felt it took like I was getting the social commentary with it being so darkly funny. I don't think it had to go so serious at certain points.
But I think it brought out the frustration in Chef.
Yeah, that's true.
I understand what you're saying, as in, yes, it does feel a little forced sometimes, but there is a reason behind. There is a plot reason behind. It's not just being forced there just because.
For sure, it's not doing it just for the sake. It's not trying to be preachy for the sake of it. It's okay. It
Chef
makes sense.
has his reasons why he's frustrated and whatnot.
Yeah.
And he does explain them quite well, actually, I thought. I thought Nicholas Hoult was a really good asshole.
Yeah.
I think he portrays a brilliant asshole.
No, he had me laughing a lot.
I really liked Elsa. She was like the head waitress.
Oh yeah, she was terrifying.
She was so good.
Really good.
She was so really scary. Good. And there was that scene, I'm not going to spoil it, but it was almost like out of a horror movie. Yeah. I thought that was really good as well.
So a film I could compare to did you guys watch Ready or Not? Came out a couple of years back.
Yes.
It's got that kind of absurdist black humor in it. It's the only thing I can think of.
No, I haven't. I haven't watched it.
It's a fun movie.
Ready or Not's a really fun. It's got one of the best endings I've seen in a film in a long time.
Yes, I was gonna mention the ending.
It looks really good.
It's very good. Very good film.
What's her name? The daughter of the actress.
Samara Weaving.
Samara Weaving. Weaving's niece.
Okay. All right, so that's the menu. Next up, we've got Armageddon Time, which I got to watch this weekend. We've got James Gray. Guys, have you heard the backstory behind James Gray and Ad Astra?
No, but I didn't love Ad Astra. I was very disappointed by it.
Because I heard about this when I was kind of like going through my thoughts on Armageddon Time, and I looked up the director, and the news article came up. So apparently what happened with Ad Astra was so this is from World of Real. This is a news article. They interviewed the director. So apparently, the director said, creatively, it became a very torturous experience. The film was taken from me. Ultimately, it's not my cut of the movie. And I find it a very painful experience to have people tell me things they hated about the movie that I had nothing to do with. I was so deeply upset. I had lost all my enthusiasm for making films. And I said, if I'm going to do it again, if it's going to be bad, it might as well be my bad. So apparently the studio wanted to add a lot of action scenes into Ad Astra, and they just edited his whole movie and added random action sequences in between this like super emotional movie about a guy finding his dad.
Hashtag release the grey cut.
Yeah, I would love to see that.
My problem with Ad Astra is it was basically Apocalypse Now in space.
Yeah, but then again, if he said that it's not his cut, but the studios, I think.
I mean, the one thing about Ad Astra is that it looked incredible, so I'd happily watch
looked incredible.
A great
cut.
It looked incredible. Okay. But then again, I think you know this as well, Joe. Even Blade Runner originally wasn't Ridley Scott's cut.
Oh no, absolutely not. There's about 5 or 6 different cuts of that film.
That's one thing.
Anyway, so that's a bit of backstory behind the director. So with that in mind, I completely understand why he went to this kind of story, which is basically a semi-biographical coming-of-age story. It's completely about his coming up in Queens, New York. We have this young kid who gets in trouble at school because he's become friends with a black classmate, basically. It's a good movie. I thought overall the performances were strong. I really enjoyed Anne Hathaway and Jeremy Strong as the parents. Two very, like we've said, another two very dependable actors. Jeremy Strong especially, I've grown to love after watching him in Succession. My favorite performance was actually by Anthony Hopkins. He was brilliant. He has some really, really good monologues in this movie, focusing especially on the question of race, which I think was tackled brilliantly in this movie. What I enjoyed about Armageddon Time, to be honest, was generally a lot of these big themes are tackled in like large-scale epics. But here it's just like a simple story of two kids who just want to be friends, and they're finding a lot of kind of like speed, a lot of bumps because obviously of the question of race. And I'm sure this is the kind of story that many kids like in the 80s and probably even till today have experienced, like this issue of racism. So it's like kind of like a very sobering movie with very good performances. Anthony Hopkins is brilliant. I'm sure he'll get a nomination for Best Supporting Actor for this. And I think the last third of this movie is some of the best cinema I've seen all year, to be honest. The ending especially, it's a little vague, but I loved it. I highly recommend watching this movie. It's not some big epic movie, just a small, simple story of two kids who want to be friends, basically, and their experiences in Queens, New York. I had a good time with this. Franco, you watched the first part of the movie. What do you think about it?
So far, it's I was telling you, like, if a movie catches my attention, I stop whatever I'm doing and I put my 100% attention to it. So my attention was divided. I was liking the cinematography a lot, and even the attention to detail of the period. You're right about Anthony Hopkins. Like, I was impressed by how he's now a grandfather, basically. Like, I would want him as my grandfather. It is what I would say. Which reminds me, I have yet to see the father. I have yet to see the father.
That's so good.
Man, because I was thinking about that as well. No, so far I can see what's going to happen. Where is it going to? But I have to admit that there's a bit of a. I think this is a bit where it's going to be touchy. Is there a bit of white savior complex in the movie?
I wouldn't say there is. No, it's actually quite the opposite.
Okay.
I thought it was very, very realistically the way they approached racism and how to stand up to racism is really, really well portrayed. I thought it was really well done.
Okay, so
I was shocked by how well done it actually was.
Okay, so I might, you know what? I might as well watch it with my father, or watch it downstairs. Like, give it my undivided attention.
I would. I think I saw the audience score for this. I was shocked. It was like 47%. I was like, did we watch the same movie?
But then again, you have also to keep in mind there's also review bombing, because they just see some like, this is like some woke bullshit, and they review bomb, like what happened with Captain Marvel, basically.
Yeah. By the way, talking about that, Franco, you're up next with She Said.
She Said, up to, and long story short, it's Spotlight, but for the Me Too. For the Me Too campaign. Because it's about the New York Times reporters who were behind the story that broke out the Harvey Weinstein scandal, basically. Let me check again. Jody, just a second, there were many names mentioned. Let me check again quickly. She said, Megan Twoney and Jodie Cantor. These were the only reporters that broke the story. There's also, funny enough, Ronan Farrow. There was another journalist who was also covering the story on The New Yorker at the same time. And they mention it in the movie.
Yeah, they mention it.
So, you mentioned that some of the movies are becoming too long, and I found it that so many of the movies I'm watching recently, their problem is the running length. The running length, and it's becoming annoying because there are certain moments where you're like, okay, why is this needed? Otherwise, funny enough, I really like the music in this movie. I don't know if you watched it or not.
Oh, Nicholas Britell is brilliant. I love Nicholas Britell. He's
The music was really good,
one of the best. Yeah, it was.
and all round, it's a great cast. I really liked that Ashley Judd was also involved in this movie. I'm actually was surprised that they thought there were at least 3 women that portrayed themselves in this movie. So that's a bold choice. And yeah, like I said about Enola Holmes, like I know that Enola Holmes was I could feel that Enola Holmes was written by a guy. This movie though was actually like I could feel the anger, the genuine anger at what was happening, and I saw that it was directed both by a woman and also written by a woman, which also makes a whole lot of difference. It's like I at the moment I was like, was this directed by a guy or a woman? And thank God it was directed by a woman, because it's an issue. Like there was almost where I felt like, wow, she said about if the depression that she felt is because of all the abuses that many women go through. It's not on the nose, but it can be slightly tedious. That's why. But funny enough, I would say Spotlight did a better job than she said, but it is worth checking out.
Stylistically, I would agree, although to a certain extent, I kind of liked the way they approach journalism, and that they showed the frustrating moments of a journalist's life as well.
One thing that was very tense, I felt like, is when what was this guy's name? Speaking of Fight Club, he was the boss, the actor who played the boss of Fight Club. The Joe Decanter character interviews this guy. He goes to the
scene with the mobile phone.
Yes,
that was so good. That was really good. Yeah, the scene was brilliant.
And for a second there, I was like, oh my God, something's going to happen. Because he was watching it out. I think that was the great of the paranoia stuff.
Yeah. I was surprised by how tense the whole movie was. The tension was palpable throughout. And especially nearing the end, there was one particular scene I loved especially. When Joe Decanter receives a call from, I forgot who calls her.
Lauren, the Irish.
From Lauren, I think. Well, yeah, and she was like, yeah, I'll do it. And that moment almost had me in tears. I'll be honest, that was a really powerful moment.
That was powerful. Even the first sequence as well. The first sequence when she walks
portrayed so well.
She walks into the film set and it's like she was aspiring. She had a great monologue as well. I mean, I'm not spoiling anything because you know what essentially happened. But she had a great monologue where she said, "At that moment, I felt that he took away the voice in the period that I was trying to find it in Lala." That was heart wrenching. That line, even thinking about it now. And
I think She Said might probably may be my #1 movie of the year, to be honest.
Sorry,
personally,
I'm going to mention another sequence that was great. When they played
go ahead.
When they played the recording, and they showed the corridors of the hotel where it happened.
Oh, that was so good.
And there's another. Yes, it's still the same, but they just showed like as if it's like they're filming the evidence of when it happened. That was also like
an overall brilliant movie.
You feel those? Yes,
Franco, what did you think about the way it was filmed? As in, a lot of the scenes felt like an interview, like the camera behind their shoulders.
In which sequence particularly?
The majority of the scenes, I thought. I mean, most of the movie was basically journalists talking to one of the women who were, either sexually assaulted or whatnot by Weinstein. In those scenes, it almost felt like an interview, to be honest. The way the camera was placed, and like there were no like fancy cinematography tricks or not, just plain.
It almost
face shot.
It's true. It almost veers into documentary territory, especially like especially Samantha Morton's character. That was great, and even Ashley Judd. And I think
what's her name? Zelda. Zelda was I enjoyed her character as well. Zelda.
I was surprised that was Samantha Morton playing her.
All right. So overall, I think we both really enjoyed it.
It's enjoyable. I haven't seen Bombshell though, because apparently it's.
I don't know if you've watched it, Joe. Have you watched Bombshell?
I did watch Bombshell close to the time it came out, and I wasn't crazy about it.
I didn't love it either.
Yeah.
It was okay, as in it was fine.
Yeah.
Not as good as She Said, definitely, though. I don't think it's as good as She Said.
Yeah, but I want to see it because I'm a big fan of Carey Mulligan and Zoe Kazan, so...
Yeah, I think they both give award nomination performances.
Yeah, but you see, but here's another thing. I would. You spoke about the awards. I mean, will this film win any awards? Cynical me would say.
I don't think it will. It'll get nominations, though. I'm quite certain Carey Mulligan will get a nomination.
Carey Mulligan was good. Carey Mulligan was good.
Maybe Zoe Kazan will get. I don't know if she will, but I think this will get nominations.
Yeah, but
the Oscar judges love, like a movie like Spotlight, for example. They love these kinds of movies.
Yeah, but it's going to be tokenistic. I know I'm being very cynical about this. It's like you have to wonder if they're giving the Oscar for talent or just to say, hey, we see you,
I think it deserves it, though. Personally, as in, like I said, I think it's, if not my favorite movie, top 2, 3 definitely for me personally. Obviously,
have you seen All the President's Men?
Yes, of course.
No, that's
one of my favorite.
No,
of course we're not. Now we're comparing it to like the all-time best
the holy grail of journalism.
The holy grail, exactly.
No,
but like Joe, I think Joe, you mentioned before, considering what a weird year it's been. I think it will make my top 2, 3 movies of the year personally.
Well, this one? No. Wait, Saint Maud was this year?
No, last year.
No, last year.
It's sick. I have to see what I watched this year, I suppose.
Yeah, it's been a weird year overall.
It's been a weird year.
It's been very backloaded. At least now the autumn and Christmas season has been pretty good so far.
I think maybe next week, or it depends on obviously when we'll record next, but we can have one episode in which we discuss our top 10 of the year, since we're in December and it's like near the end of the year.
Yeah.
That could be one episode we can do next. Anything else, Franco, to say about She Said?
No, She Said, actually, I recommend watching it. That's all I can say.
Okay, guys. I think that should be it. Joe, next week you'll get to talk about Bones and On, because I think we've done
I have a lot to
more
say.
than enough for today. And I'm looking forward to watching it this week as well, so maybe we can get to discuss it
very
next
good
week then. Yeah. Oh, I'm excited now.
We should do an outing, man. Pretty Bears outing.
Vera, Franco, we should go watch it this week.
Tlana. Let's go.
We'll tell Mario. I know Mario loves the director, Mario Ovel.
If we want an actual meetup, I'm going to be back in Malta from the 24th till the 29th.
Oh, cool,
24th? Cool. Oh, brilliant. We'll definitely
right in
meet
between
up
that
those
Christmas
days.
and New Year period, but we can surely find something to watch at that time.
I mean,
definitely.
to be honest, I haven't watched Suspiria by Luca Guadagnino. The only thing I watched by him is I Am Love. I liked it, but then
You haven't seen Call Me by Your Name?
Call Me by Your Name was good. I liked it.
I don't know.
I don't know why it gets so much hate.
I don't know. Plus, especially because of what happened with Armie Hammer and whatnot. That is really funny. That Luca Guadagnino worked with Armie Hammer, and that movie did that with cannibalism.
Cannibal movie, yeah.
I check it out because I was a bit like, again, there was too much hype about it, but
Suspiria is worth checking out as well.
Yeah. Okay, good to know.
All right, guys, I think we can wrap it up here. I think it was a really good first show. I really enjoyed it. Franco.
Same.
I enjoyed it. It's been, I haven't had this kind of talk about movies and whatnot in ages.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, agreed.
Joe.
Yeah, no, just as Franco said, it's obviously living in a different country. It can be tough to find fellow film nerds. So this is good for me.
Yeah, I enjoyed
Awesome.
it. All right, guys. I hope our listeners enjoyed it as well. Posting this, I wonder what day we should post this. Now I'll see when best to get it out. All right, thank you so much, guys, for listening and tuning in. And you'll hear from us next week. Ciao, guys.
Adieu.